James Gunn behind the reins of the new DC universe, the future has never looked brighter for DC, and I'm really excited to see what they have in store. We already had a couple projects and shows directed by James Gunn himself, like Peacemaker and Creature Commandos that just came out recently, and I love both of those. And it kind of gave us the direction and tone that we can kind of see the DC universe going into. So I'm really excited, and something I'm really looking forward to, which is going to be our first live action show since Creature Commandos, is going to be Lanterns. There's been a lot of crazy news coming out about it. And in this video, if you stick around till the end, I have a crazy theory that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned, and I promise you it's going to be worth the wait. But if you didn't know, hey, it's Keith here. And today in this video, like I said, we're going to be discussing about the brand new Lanterns TV show and a lot of the crazy news that just came out about it. So it's been a lot of speculation about what the story could be and what it has to offer. We've seen some casting reveals. Now, so far, the only information that we really do have is the fact that this is going to be a mystery-based show with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart as the main Green Lanterns of this series. And it's going to take place, of course, within the DCEU and have a major impact on where the DC universe is going to go. So it's not just some one and done story, but really just like the build up for the main first kind of arc of the DC universe in general. And just with that brief description, it leads me into my first point about Lanterns, which is the tone. I mean, already it's being described by James Gunn himself as True Detective meets Green Lanterns. And with that, I'm already sold on the concept of Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart going around on missions throughout Earth and space and covering some dark secrets. And we can assume this show will have a much darker tone if you're going to base it around something like True Detective. And since John is the new Green Lantern on the scene, we will likely be taking his perspective throughout the show so that the audience can kind of learn and follow alongside him about the current state of not just the DCU, but the Green Lantern Corps in general. Now, with that, Hal Jordan is being played by actor Kyle Chandler, and Jon Stewart is being played by Aaron Pierce. Both are phenomenal actors who I believe will portray these characters in an amazing way. And the last time we saw a live action Green Lantern, it was in the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, and we all know how that turned out. So the bar is pretty low for DC to improve on last time, but I think they can knock it out of the park. But that brings me to my next topic. What other Lanterns could we see in this show? Now, personally, I'm a huge Kyle Rayner fan, and I would love to see Kyle on the big screen. We haven't had any news about him at all, but not just him. I think it would be amazing to see a lot of other Lanterns out there. There's an entire core. I mean, we have people like Kilowog or even the Guardians of Oa. Even though they haven't really given too much information on kind of the sets and areas that we'll be on in the show other than Earth, it'd be really cool to go to the planet just so we can see some of the other lanterns out there and kind of just let people know that they exist, especially like, you know, your core audience who probably isn't familiar with Green Lantern like they would be any other hero. And because that's one of the things that makes Green Lantern so great, because the name is really a placeholder. I mean, there are a lot of Green Lanterns. You might think that there might be just one Green Lantern, like there's one Batman and one Superman, but no, there's a lot of them. I mean, just on Earth, we have two in this show, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. We also have Guy Gardner out there and Kyle Rayner, like I mentioned. So there are a lot of even just Earth-based Green Lanterns, let alone the thousands and thousands of Green Lanterns that are out there in the galaxy. And it's a huge waste to have a show called Lanterns, only two Green Lanterns in it, you know? So I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to kind of, you know, expand upon that mythos and that lore for Green Lantern. And what better way of doing it than showing the planet Oa? But not only would it be nice to show the planet Oa, but unlike Batman and Superman, like I mentioned, the lore and backstory of these lanterns isn't really well known outside of comic media and comic fans. So it'd be nice if we got some lore about how Jordan became Green Lantern and how this version of Jon Stewart is going to become Green Lantern. Because the average moviegoer probably doesn't know much about Green Lantern other than his basic abilities. So it'd be really nice for them to kind of explain how they get their abilities, where they draw their power from, and also what the rings truly mean to each Green Lantern. But speaking of characters who we want to see, it has already been confirmed and revealed that former Green Lantern and arch enemy of the Lantern Corps, Sinestro, will be in this show and has been cast to be played by Ulrich Thompson, who will play the character in a reoccurring role. Keyword being reoccurring. So we'll be definitely seeing Sinestro outside of just this series as well. And I'm super excited since honestly, I'm not sure why I didn't expect to see Sinestro, but he is one of my favorite villains in all of DC. And seeing Sinestro this early on and knowing that he will be there is going to build up a lot of hype and buzz around this show. I mean, he's definitely one of the greatest villains DC has to offer, considering how evil and prideful he can be. And the last time we saw him, again, was in that 2011 film. That time he was played by Mark Strong. However, I don't believe he actually wore a yellow lantern ring in that movie. I mean, my memory of it is kind of hazy. It was the last time I saw it was probably back in 2011 or 2012, and it kind of just stayed there in my memory. So it was a pretty bad movie. But I always thought Sinestro and Mark Strong were pretty good in that movie, and I like to see how they were portraying Sinestro going forward. Like I said, I don't think he was a yellow lantern in that movie, so that could be something that they kind of tie into this show if he's not already going to be a major villain. He could start off as maybe an ally, a friend, of course, of Hal Jordan and John Stewart. And throughout this show, we could see him as a background character. He becomes more and more corrupt and evil, showing his true nature and what he can be and what he's capable of. But that does lead me to the theory that I mentioned about. And because James Gunn and everyone around it is mentioning this show as a huge mystery, it's going to have a major impact on DCU and it's going to forever change how we view the Green Lanterns in this new DC universe. I think the big mystery behind all this is that the Green Lanterns are going to uncover the mystery of the Manhunters. Now, for anyone not familiar on the Manhunters, they were the first peacekeepers of the universe created by the Guardians of Oa until they were later replaced due to their corrupt nature and ideology. And not only were they eventually replaced by the Lanterns, but they were also decommissioned and either destroyed or lost throughout the universe for thousands of years. Now, in comics, the Lanterns weren't aware of the Manhunters until they were first revealed, and they learned about the secrets that the Guardians have been hiding for all these years. And the Manhunters are incredibly powerful, and almost took over the entire DC universe before on their own in the past, until they were eventually defeated by the Justice League and the entire Lantern Corps. So it's not going to be easy to take these guys out. It could be a great event type story or Justice League movie tie-in that they could do that we haven't seen before, instead of rushing to the dark side or maybe trying to do anything like I've heard theories of Brainiac or maybe even Mongol. It'll be a really refreshing and kind of crazy turn to have the first Justice League event being against the Manhunters. I think that'd be pretty awesome. Also, but that also brings us to the point that the revelation of these Manhunters could also be the driving point for Sinestro to become a Yellow Lantern. He already doesn't trust the Guardians. It feels like he's been lied to. They will already fuel the resentment that he had built up already. Not only that, he has crazy pride and a lot of ego. So finding out that he's only been a replacement all this time due to another failed project that the Guardians had will probably drive him over the edge. So I would love to see that kind of be his reasoning for leaving the Lantern Corps and starting his own Yellow Lanterns based off of fear. But like I said, that's my theory on the new DC universe. There could be a lot of things that they have planned, and that's the beauty of it. And the fun of this is just sitting behind the camera and just coming up with theories and ideas on what could be and what they have the potential of stories to tell. That's what makes all this worth it and fun. So that brings me to my last point. Go ahead and comment down below yourself any theories or ideas you might have for the new Lanterns TV show. And not only just that, just the future of the DCU in general. I think we have a lot of potential for great stories in this. And I'm really happy that we have James Gunn and this whole new creative team behind the reins of this. So there's a lot of stories that could be told, a lot of great potential. So like I said, comment down below what you like to see. And also, who's your favorite Green Lantern? For me, it has to be probably Kyle Rayner or John, like I mentioned earlier. But I want to see who your favorite Lantern is. There's a lot to choose from out there. So comment down below as well. And thanks for watching.